On the day Efia realized two men were after her, she nearly collapsed at the bus stop. That was how trouble announced itself without drums, without warning, right in the middle of an ordinary Accra evening. Efia stood at the bus stop, phone pressed to her ear. Let me take you back to what started all this. Efia and Charles had been together since a time when love was spelled with chalk and erased by rain. They grew up in the same compound house where everyone knew everyone's business, including the mosquitoes. Everyone cared for everyone, and everyone's child was everyone's child. Their mothers were friends, their fathers argued over football, and they themselves were inseparable like bread and tea. If Effia climbed a mango tree, Charles stood below to catch her. If Charles took meat from the pot of soup from his mother's cooking pot, Effia was the lookout. They went to the same primary school, sat next to each other in class, they did same in JHS, even in SHS. They were no so much so across the school that even the teachers thought they were siblings. People used to joke, "Hey, these two, when is the wedding?" They laughed it off. Always. Because to them, it was normal. Charles was not a boy. He was Charles, the best friend to Effia, was not a girl. She was Effia, the best friend to Charles. Like wrinkles and back pain, all this changed somewhere between puberty. Not with announcements, not with confessions, just small things. The way Charles would rest his head on Effia's lap when they studied. The way Effia would wear Charles's hoodie and refuse to return it. The way they sat and chatted for hours without realizing it was getting dark. Each day after school, they sat in the house and did all their works until late evening, where they ate jollof together. They did things best friends should not explain to anyone else. Soon, one was developing feelings beyond besties. Yes, Charles had started to feel like Effia meant more than just a bestie to her. He wanted to be a bestie with benefit. Just quietly enough to pretend it didn't change anything. And maybe it didn't until it did. University came like a thief that steals slowly. Effia got into Legon, Charles got a scholarship abroad, different continents, same WhatsApp thread. Bestie, my crocodile pond. Eat, sleep. Don't stay up late. They survived distance, the way true friendships do. Every day after lectures, Effia would video call Charles, and they gossiped so much so that her roommates kept teasing her that her boyfriend was abroad and she is here. Then, in level 400, David arrived. Ah, David. David was the type of man who looked like his life was already planned in Excel. Clean guy, if I say so myself. Calm voice. Hand on muscles that could lift any girl and so romantic. He was doing his project when he met Effia at the Balmain Library, both of them fighting for the same charging port like civilized adults pretending not to be desperate. Are you almost done? David asked. Effia looked up. She smiled, the kind of smile that changes weather. No, but we can take turns. You charge 5 minutes, I charge 5 minutes, agreed? She said. David laughed. He liked her immediately. Not because of beauty alone. Accra is full of beautiful women, but because she spoke like someone who had known him before. They started with lunches, then evening walks, then serious conversations that began with jokes and ended with truths. David loved Effia openly. No hiding, no pretending. He posted her. He introduced her. He talked about after school as if it was a place they would walk into together. Effia liked him. Truly, he was safe. He was steady. Her roommates even liked her. He did not treat affection like a favor. And yet, every time her phone buzzed with "Charles is calling," her chest reacted before her brain could stop it. She thought because Charles was away and she kept missing him. You better hit the subscribe button if you are still here. One time during their video calls, Effia told Charles about David, and for about 5 minutes, Charles was not talking. She thought it was her network. Charles hanged up and did not pick up her calls until late evening when he called and made up excuses that he had to attend to something. He listened to every story about David and laughing when she laughed, feeling something heavy grow in his chest when she went quiet. He told himself lies. She's my best friend. I'm happy for her. but the heart is a stubborn elder. It does not listen to logic when it has already chosen trouble. When Charles finally returned to Ghana after years abroad, he came home taller and carrying the kind of maturity that comes from being alone in cold countries where nobody knows your nickname. Effia ran to hug him like time had not moved, like they were still children with scraped knees. David hugged her back so tightly and then stood a few steps away, smiling politely, feeling something he could not name. That night, Charles realized the truth he had avoided. He loved Effia. And the worst part? David loved her too. Two men, one woman, no villains. My people, this was the life about to unfold before Effia, who knew very little. During the year Charles arrived, they were inseparable, but the separator was David. If Charles went out with Effia and David called, she had to leave. If they were just playing games in the room and David came, Charles had to leave. Charles was growing weary and tired of being just the bestie, for he was once a bestie with benefits. My people, if you are still here, kindly hit that subscribe button and sit well because the story is about to burst your mind. In case you did not know, the company that funded Charles Mensah's scholarship abroad made him a chief engineer at their construction company. So, he was not a small man, but love, you see, can make you do things. David, on the other hand, was already planted. His real estate business was one count far and wide because if had the most outstanding buildings in the whole of Ghana. They were yellow, green, and red to symbolize the country and so made people love his building the more. When enough was enough, one day, Charles confronted Effia one dinner evening and spilled the tea. He told her of how he had fallen in love with her all these years and how she has been the motivating force behind his growth. Effia went silent in the restaurant. She could hear her own heartbeat louder than the Afro music being played in the background. But she knew. She knew Charles loved her, but she did not want him to say it out loud, for she wanted to be best friends with him forever. My people, if it was you, what would you do at this moment? He continued. I didn't say it before because I didn't want to lose you. Now I'm saying it because I already almost did. That night, she told him he needed time to think about it. From that moment, Accra became an arena. David realized Charles, now wanting to be more than a bestie, decided to up his game, and the race to get Effia began. Gifts came to her house in many forms: money, bouquets, books, jewelry sets, new clothes, flowers, shoes, heels, etc. She received surprise lunch at work from both David and Charles, so much so that her boss even teased her that what will she be ordering today for everyone to eat. The thing became so serious that they started sending gifts to her parents. But it just kept making Effia more confused. She prayed, she cried, she joked, she delayed. How do you choose? She asked her best friend one night. Until one night it hit her. They both were not planning on letting go of her anytime sooner, so she devised the best thought she could come up with. Since they will not go, then they have to decide to go away themselves. And I must say this was the best anyone could come up with. It was a simple, harmless prank, one that will make them decide whether to stay or leave. She told David first. She said, "The doctor says I may not be able to have children." David froze, shocked, and told her she would talk to her later. Then she told Charles. Charles listened quietly. Then he took her hands. "Effia," he said, "I've known you before we knew what color our hair was. I didn't choose you for a womb. I chose you because you are home." That was when the FM station started playing Perfect by Ed Sheeran in the background, and in that moment she knew this was the man she would be doing forever with. That night, David called her in the evening and was explaining how he cannot marry someone who cannot give birth and how he wanted to build bigger empires. She ended the prank the call. The next day, she confessed the lie, apologized deeply. David was hurt, but Charles was filled with much more joy than the day he proposed to Effia. Life has a sense of humor. Effia later gave birth to twins. But that, my people, is a story for another fire. Till then, subscribe and share to a friend. See you next week.